Welcome back, folks. It's Electric here with Shantastic, not simply, to commentate this CLG Cheese versus Tabascoth race. Now, this race has been pre-recorded as the runners weren't able to meet up at any of the times today, unfortunately. But nobody really knows how this race is going to shake up. Myself and Shans honestly have no idea. So this will be just like a live race with us interacting with chat live and everything. Just note that the runs themselves were pre-recorded. Chance, how are you feeling as we're going through the intro right now?
Hey, what's up, Electric? Apparently I am simply. So what's up, Mario 64 gang? Hope you're as excited for some serious action here. We got two absolute titans, and I am psyched. I'm psyched to see obviously Cheese, the once and current legend, to be duking it out with Tabascoth. Definitely no one to be scoffed at. Yeah. Is Tabas playing on Japanese version?
It does appear that way, and he also went for probably the hardest form of Lakitu skip, using that straight-on angle with a couple dives and rollouts. It's only like 0.1 faster than the skip that Cheese went for, but still kind of, I guess, a little bit of foreshadowing of things to come. Taba has been known to pull out some kind of insane strats at certain points. Not quite like a Ouija or Draws, but does certainly play at a very, very high level, although kind of at that razor's edge. Both of them getting bomb clip really nice and easy.
Yeah, things going super smoothly. For anyone who's not aware of the mild nuances of like version difference, strictly speaking, in 70 star, the US version is a little bit faster than the Japanese version. This is mostly because of text boxes scrolling a lot faster. But the Japanese version does start out a little bit ahead because it skips the Peach monologue in the intro cutscene. So what you're going to be seeing is Tabas, with a little bit of an edge, is going to slowly slip away, assuming these players play at pretty much identical speeds. And that's because Cheese is going to save a lot of time on those text boxes, a 12.7 and a 12.6 coming out for Tabas and Cheese. So yeah, despite what you're seeing here, Cheese is a little bit ahead for virtue of playing 70 star on the US version, but not all that much of a lead. It's really going to come down largely to movement.
Yeah, and so moving on into Whomps now, both these players opting for that optimal slide first movement. Saves about a second on the castle movement. We see a lot of runners kind of carry over their habits from doing PB attempts. A lot of runners will just choose to do Whomps first since it's so reset heavy. Tap us with the fence clip here and a clean Owless. Very nice. Meanwhile,
very
Cheese
nice.
Going right over for Cannonless instead.
Picks up the no cannon star. I guess strictly speaking, every star in Whomps is cannonless in some sense or the other.
That is fair. That is very fair. We've got Taba going for Pro Cycle 100. And she's going to be moving on up for his own Owless here. Beautiful movement from Taba so far. I think he's pretty well good on the cycle.
Yeah, it looks like Tabas is he gets the long jump and beautiful
expert movement there. Wow,
incredible. And then he falls down.
and then falling right. But hey, I mean, he killed the piranha plant, and normally you do just kind of have to wait around for that blue coin, so it could certainly be worse. A little bit of an awkward position to have to back up, but he does manage it, and the blue is staying within grabbing range.
Oh no!
Oh boy!
He's gonna lose the blue.
He's gonna have to go for that other piranha plant, which is a lot slower. That's unfortunate. And even if you don't grab the blue coin, the game will still not spawn another one from that piranha. So really unfortunate.
Yeah, you're gonna have to back up this this little piranha here, and gets bad RNG to boot.
Not to worry, he is finally making his way through the ending of this 100 coin star, but Cheese with a pretty hefty lead due to those movement mistakes. It's really unfortunate because he did land that pro cycle very cleanly. It just, the movement after it just was not happening. A little bit of weirdness whenever he landed on the platform, and I think it just wasn't a setup he was quite used to for the ending.
Yeah, indeed, but yeah, and she's actually, man, she's completely closing the gap and picking up an entire star on his opponent.
Not really a great start. But certainly nothing that can't be overcome. There's a lot more difficult stuff in this game as well. Now Taba gonna be moving on in for
That is rough. That is the worst feeling in the world, is to miss that dive there.
Just trying to do it a bit too optimally, I think. And if he were just a couple of pixels higher, I feel like the game would have snapped him up over the concrete, but just not quite reaching up there. And that's really the worst way to fail cannonless, just because it's not even a real cannonless attempt. And cannonless can just fail even when you do all the full setup movement entirely correctly. It just says no sometimes. And so really only having one true shot without the wild blue backup star is very daunting for some. But Taba does manage to land on his first real attempt.
Indeed, and Cheese meanwhile just coasting through this chip off Whomp's block. Chip has been gotten.
So now Cheese only having to get himself to the top of the fortress. Meanwhile, Taba has to deal with this whole long fight and the top of the fortress.
Oh no,
and
he bonked!
Big bonk!
That's a big bonk.
Man. Using this little secret teleport here, I was not aware that backup was even a thing.
Hello?
This is a man who has trained everything to a super high level. That is incredible. I'm still finding out about new warps in this game. Like every level pretty much has a warp in it somewhere. And you really don't realize that when you're playing casually. And even like in most speedruns, you don't use most of them.
And the sheer unadulterated confidence to go for that double jump into triple jump off the Whomp? Like, I mean, okay, buddy.
That is a pretty wild strat. Cheese with yet another pretty nice 12-6 on his slide time. Now got Taba getting himself to the top of the fortress.
And yeah, mercifully, Taba's getting himself out of Whomp's fortress. Cheese, meanwhile, perfect lag reduction, heading here into the Tower of the Wing Cap. Oh man, it is an absolute delight to watch Cheese play things like Tower of the Wing Cap, because you see him graze the hitboxes here. Yeah, just so incredibly precise. Probably saves almost a second over a lot of runners just by flying perfectly optimally and turning at the first possible moment.
This is a man who's played the game so much that he knows exactly how far Mario can reach. He's not surprised by grabbing coins anymore. And let's see if Taba can manage some pretty decent flying to boot. Those arcs are super, super important. You pretty much want to be heading down as much as you can. You really don't want to spend any time going horizontally in this stage.
For sure, the best way to gather speed is to be moving in that reverse parabola, and basically the best way to beat this level as fast as possible is to keep dipping down and then flying right back up, and that picks up a lot of speed and saves the most time that you possibly can.
And speaking of cutting those turns, Taba trying to get some really optimal turns works out for him until the very last set of 2 coin. Fortunate time loss there, but Cheese, meanwhile, just blazing through Dark World right now.
For sure, actually having to give it a little bit of time in order to make that chick cycle. Double firsties.
Beautiful ending movement. Just Cheese is really playing well right now. This is a very, very nice run from him.
And looks like Taba's heading here into Dark World. Pretty clean movement so far. Looks like headed for a Shig Cycle.
Very nice tight throw from Cheese. Not wasting any room on those spins.
Yeah, meanwhile Taba's on Shig pace.
I'm slowing myself down just a little bit for the amps, but still very, very clean pace. Very, very nice. Good clean ending. Let's see how his wall kicks go.
Does the camera movement that I consider to be disgusting.
Kind of flipping himself all the way around there. I definitely prefer the angle that's 180 to that. He's moving into sky jump.
And honestly, a very respectable dark roll for the start that he had in Whomp's Hungry Coin. Cheese, meanwhile, just blazing through this run.
This is a really, really nice run so far from Cheese. Let's see if he can hold it together through CCM here.
Couple R presses going down at the door.
Gotta have that cheat prevention, yo.
True, true. We're gonna see how Tabas measures up.
He always ends up using this pretty interesting camera angle for wall kicks. It works for him, so I mean, can't really mock it.
Yeah, Cheese has a lot of interesting camera angles, honestly, and I guess it's not that surprising. Cheese does run this full game on the Hori gamepad, and Tabas missing the sky jump, and you can see the frustration on his face. Just one thing goes wrong after the other. But yeah, the interesting thing about the Hori is it's extremely durable, and the mechanics of it are fantastic. It is one of the more reliable third-party controllers to be used on N64. But the reason a lot of players use it for throws is that the notches specifically tend to be quite unreliable. And so one of the quirks of playing this full game with a Hori is a lot of the times you're going to be adjusting to those notches. There are going to be certain parts of the game where you would be pushing forward, but your forward notch is a little bit off, so you might change the camera angle on that. And so not surprising to see Hori players use slightly different camera angles.
Yeah, and plus, like, holding out of notch angles is a lot more inconsistent than it would be on an N64 controller. That the Hori stick itself is very, very light and moves very easily. And the other factor is, wait a minute, it looks like she's actually going for the CCM17 route, interestingly enough.
She's going CCM17 is well fit to do this, given that he is running on the US version. I would be surprised to see Tabas go for CCM17, not only because double pillarless is a little harder to do in a marathon, or less consistent, but also because one of the main differences between the US and Japanese version is that when you do double pillarless, the secret star has a little sound glitch that you want to avoid, and a lot of players just choose not to risk it.
Yep. But talking about the Hori real quick, it's like each notch kind of has a bias. So like moving the stick ever so slightly out of a notch doesn't do anything. You have to move like closer to halfway in between both notches before you really see a substantial effect. And so things that are just slightly out of notch on a standard N64 controller can be very hard to hit reliably on a Hori as a result. So in many cases, Hori runners have come up with their own setups for numerous things. A big example is, you don't see it in this run, but topless, where you go to do the IROC star without triggering the pillars first. That star has a completely different setup for a Hori that's actually documented on the wiki.
Very interesting. I actually don't. It's interesting because I don't remember the difference between the setups. Possibly because it's so rare that I'll see an IROC setup done on the Hori and then the same star done on an OEM in the same day. So I guess it's harder to note the differences without really looking into it. But very interesting, actually. Never knew that.
So now we've got Cheese taking care of the big boo over here.
Tabas opting to warp up with 19 coins, is not gonna go for any of those safety reds, as we do often see in Division 2. This is Div 1, so these are the top players. So Tabas is going to be missing 1 point here.
They're very, very confident in their slide movement here. I mean, it's for anyone just starting this game, this star is certainly one that is a huge obstacle in doing the HMC late route. You really have to put some time in on the slide. Truly just know the slide route, know where each coin is going to be, and know exactly how to move along the slide. And plus, like, it's also kind of understated. You need to get a good... Okay, I really, really like this ending that Tab is about to pull off here. Going for that little bump so that he can just do this ground pound, quick little long jump, and he's good to go. But
yeah,
anyway,
really like that.
If you don't move predictably at the very start, then the penguin can suddenly creep up on you at very inopportune moments. I've actually had the penguin push me off the slide before just because he came at a time that he doesn't normally come by. So
Yeah, that's a really important timing thing.
yeah, so like the penguin star is certainly not to be underestimated in its difficulty. It's certainly easier than doing plus twice, but it can come up with its own hurdles as well.
For sure. It actually was to the point where when I was starting out playing 70, I actually derived a slightly different CCM 18 route or CCM 100 route, where I would aim to enter the slide with about 28 to 30 coins. This is partly because you don't want to go in with too many coins, because if you're making it difficult to avoid coins and dodge coins, then you're going to run into the same problem. So you have to hit this very fine, especially when you're kind of a beginner. You have to hit this perfect sort of fine sweet spot territory of exactly how many coins you need to safely have the right number. To be able to miss the right number of coins and not miss fewer and not miss more, which is very difficult.
Now, Taba having a couple of issues with Big Boo. Nice little side flip strat there. I didn't actually realize you could get the Boo to raise higher that way. It may have just been like the Boo hitting the slope at that time, but I think he actually did a tiny bit of manipulation. But
Yeah.
Chief did land his first plus. Let's see if he can get the second.
Doing the regular pillarless for the marathon, certainly don't blame him. Oh, no!
Not quite getting the double jump there. And you can see just the, yup, this is what happens look on his face.
Did pick up the secret star first, and that was a star that I was talking about where the Japanese version does have a sound glitch. Much safer to go for on the US version, as if you do get the sound glitch after picking up the 5th star, if you do anything, basically if you do any movement instead of like jumping or punching, you'll get a little sound glitch, all your sound will stop, and you won't be able to pick up stars, and you'll just have to reset your N64. Effectively like a soft lock.
Yeah. For those who have trained at it, it's fairly easy to avoid, but you do have to be mindful of it at least, which when you've got the excitement of a strat like plus behind you, you know you're having to do another plus. There's so much on your mind that it's very easy to forget about. The single jump left side strat, jeez, is just going off right now. Oh, man. That was beautiful. Yeah,
actually, like it's such an optimized SSL. I'm a little. Oh no, Tabas missing. Having a little bit of trouble here. Gonna try and salvage it. Not gonna be able to, but gonna kick out and probably just go for the top of the pyramid here. Even too late to actually make the Talon.
That was certainly an unfortunate fail there.
For sure. But Tabas and SSL at the same time as Cheese, so certainly, and even after doing CCM 18, so not that far behind, to be sure, but certainly at quite a deficit against one of the most consistent players, if not the most consistent player out.
Yep, and we've got about an 18-minute or so LLL entry from Cheese, so we're going to be looking to see hopefully a lower 19 from Tabo. Only has a couple more stars, or actually, did he miss MIPS earlier?
Tabas?
Yeah, I feel like with his star count, he must have missed MIPS.
Yeah, it looks like he probably did.
Okay, so that'll be even more time lost than what it appears. And then, of course, missing the fly guy altogether.
This is just a disaster.
Missing that fly guy is just so infuriating.
Yeah, especially here when you have to back up Talon with another Talon. That is the most frustrating part. Is that you just have to sit there and kind of wait.
Yeah, SSL really doing what it does best to top at the moment.
Actually, I'd be interested to know whether it loses more time to miss like 2 bomb throws on a press and wind up backing up like Talon and atop the pyramid, or if it's better to get like a first try pillarless and then miss the Talon and have to waste all that time waiting for the Talon to come around, or the Vulture to come around.
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, optimally, of course, you don't want to deal with either situation, but
of course, for sure.
I really don't know which one's worse.
It's very interesting because at this level you see runners reset this kind of stuff, but
yeah, in a race, that reset button is hard off limits.
For sure.
She's having some special trouble with that bully kill there. Doesn't manage to make it work.
Yeah, she's dealing with a little bit of trouble in the schoolyard. Of course, Mario, slightly old to be wearing overalls. I know you get to high school, and if your mom insists on dictating your fashion sense, and sometimes those kids at recess not quite hip to exactly what your personal fashion sense is. And I always say you do you, but it's unfortunate when you're teased for your choice in clothes. Yeah, it seems to be the case with these bullies.
Kind of an interesting difference in strats here. Taba going for what I believe was the Akira boost, almost as fast as the pure pro boost, but you kind of go at a slightly different orientation along the lava waterfall. Nailing it first try. Meanwhile, Cheese manages to hit both tries on his kind of more standard traditional long jump boost, but then taking the death just due to those falls there.
Yeah, falls twice over, and that's actually really rough. She's now down to only a star in advantage, and now he dies. And actually, depending on the stars that Tapas has gone for, looks like he's doing bully and bully the bullies. So these are two of the longer stars. I guess Big Bully is a little shorter, but Bully the Bully still has yet to be done. So it does look like Tavis is still behind, strictly speaking. But
certainly nowhere near as much, though. I'd say this pretty well cancels out a lot of what happened to him in SSL, at least.
Indeed. But yeah, it looks like she's going to be going for the elevator star? I thought he just did the elevator. Oh, no, wait, that must have been Tavis. So we're going to get ourselves a little rollout into the star. Tavis having a clean bully the bullies. So at this point, Tavis only barely behind his opponent. It is important to remember that Tavis doesn't have another Emerald All-Star. He has to go get Nips, which does mean that he is virtually hot on the heels of his opponent. Just needs to pick up this money here.
And does get the grab right in front of the door. Pretty much about as optimal as you can expect with the Nips fail on the SSL entry. So Cheese hits the painting at 22:48. I'm expecting probably a 23:20 something from Taba. This door opening cutscene does take a little while.
Just to answer a question in the chat, as far as I'm aware, the runners did have access to each other's streams when they were recording the race. I believe that the streams were pre-recorded. I believe that the race was pre-recorded, but pre-recorded on private live streams that were known only to the restreamer. So basically, they probably did have access to their to each other's streams.
Yeah. So, just to kind of announce it officially, because there has been some confusion in the chat about this. The race itself was structured like a normal race. Both runners did sit down at the same time and record a run at the same time. It wasn't like they had a date to record a run in advance of, and so they could just keep retrying. Like, no, this is an actual race. It's just because they couldn't actually meet up at one of the times that we had a time slot available. They held the race at a completely separate time, actually earlier today, and we're just restreaming it live for y'all with live commentary. So in every way, it's like a normal race. The only difference is the restreamer wasn't putting it on GSA. Nice front sub.
Right side front sub. He's such a god. And Tabas looks like he's actually setting up for a front sub as well. Is he going to do the ever famed right side? Commentator really very much favors one horizontal direction over the other, and Tabas actually misses right side front sub. Gonna have to back it up to left side.
Yeah, missing front sub can be very, very daunting because of how much lag that sub causes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, between front sub and triple jump wall kick in Bowser in the Sky, this game certainly is very, I guess sidist is the term you would say. Certainly prefers the right side over the left, always saving more time. Generally speaking, not too kind to southpaws, to left-handies, or left-handed people.
Fair.
Yeah, a little bit of discrimination coming out from Nintendo, but certainly nothing quite too scandalous.
So now we've got Taba entering Fire Sea as Cheese starts up the fight here. Cheese really didn't leave Taba any room to save time.
Yeah, he got lava boost. He got the good ending.
Taba with some extreme lag reduction camera here. Very rare to see the Lakitu non-C down cam.
It's a little dust there. Still probably gonna be able to make lava boost.
Yeah, he's not getting the ledge grab there. He shouldn't have lost enough time to miss lava boost based only off that dust. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, it just clips it. Gonna see if we can get ourselves a good ending. Sweet rollout, picks up that coin, and a good ending coming out from top.
Very, very nice. Not losing any time to Cheese, really. Maybe like half a second or so. And I wouldn't even know on what. That's how close he played to where Cheese played this Fire Sea.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
These boys going to be moving on into the upstairs segment of the game. One of the most RNG heavy levels, what Dry World. You got to depend on some good coin RNG and 100 coin. Otherwise, things can fall south pretty quickly.
Yeah, what Dry World 100, a very interesting star. It's one of those stars that the difficulty of it remains pretty much the same no matter what level you're at, because mechanically it's not all that challenging, but the RNG is something very, very intense. And so
now,
once you've optimized your strat...
Cheese is actually missing a star. I just noticed that. He only has 33, and like Tab is showing right now, he should have 30.
The Manta.
That must be it. I don't know when exactly he'd realize that. I don't think that'll cause problems with the route. I think you have like 52 once you exit Snowman's Land. But I mean, obviously he is going to have to pick up an extra at some point. I wonder what exactly that'll be. Probably SL Reds if I had to guess.
Yeah, SL Reds if he notices. Alternatively, he can go for HMC Toxic Maze. The main thing is if he doesn't realize by the time he leaves HMC, which usually you kind of do, because there's a lot of there's kind of a lot of what I kind of describe as you're kind of cleaning up shop, a lot of admin in terms of picking up stars that aren't necessarily core stars. You pick up the second Mip star, you pick up the second Toad star, and if you miss any of those, you're going to have to sort those out in the middle of HMC, right? So that seems to be the most likely place that you would notice it. Hopefully has the chance to get THI or SL Reds, as it would be a little bit faster.
Yeah, it would certainly be interesting to see THI Reds as a backup. I believe THI Reds is faster than both Toxic Maze and SL Reds, but if you mess it up, you're losing so much time. So I'm not exactly sure if he'll decide to go for it.
I think Cheese has an advantage here in the sense that being the 120 star world record holder, probably a lot more confident on THI Reds than a lot of maybe 70 star runners would be. So I think that if Cheese found himself in a position where he wanted to do THI Reds, certainly could do that. Unless you want to make the meme that Cheese might mess up on the castle movement of entering the really big painting.
Yeah, that could be fair. That could be it too. Both of them getting some pretty nice 100 coins though. Taba had a little bit of problem with coin RNG right in the middle, but was able to go ahead and hold it all together, not lose any more than that one spare coin.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty clean, seamless wet dry world coming out from both players. And Taba's actually abandoning the triple jump block kick.
Smart move there. When he realized it wasn't going to work, he just didn't even try to commit to it, and that certainly lost him a lot less time than it would have had it failed.
that loses a heckin' load of time if you miss that wall kick and you gotta fall all the way back down. If you bump against the wall, you are in for a rough time. If you just get the wall kick and you don't quite get the building, or not the building, if you don't quite land on the platform, you can easily jump, kind of dive back onto the ramp. But bumping against the wall, it can get super rough.
She's entering THI, small painting. It'll be a minute before we see if he decides to go for reds here. I feel like it's unlikely, but it is a possibility, I think.
I would like to see him do it. I think he's uniquely situated to do it as a 120 runner, and it is going to save back the most possible amount of time, or lose the least amount of time, I guess. You're going to see him probably move right out of the star select. Ooh, and he changed his camera here. No, but that's for the same. We're going into the small thing.
Yeah, just got
Commentator getting a little too excited there.
Well, the one thing I'm thinking that might actually hurt him a bit from his 120 star experience is you always do THI reds at the very end of 100 coins, so he's probably using some safer strats than what we'd normally see in someone just running reds in 70. And so that might not net him as much time as, again, like someone running more single star strats, but I just don't know. We'll have to see what he does. And if he even realizes it, he might not realize it just yet since, I mean, throughout THI, you're in the upper 30s of star count, you know, and you really don't have a reason to look at your star count a lot during this part of the game.
Interesting. Yeah, I never really thought of it that way. Just because generally people don't run THI reds in the first place, so I'm not even sure what there is to optimize over the regular THI reds movement, except maybe unless you're going for a community gold or whatever.
Well, it's like, I think with the absolute fastest movement, you're pretty much diving between all the platforms using rollouts to actually advance to the next one. It's very, very tight movement, and especially on the very end.
He didn't change his camera. Oh, no, just going to the door. Looks like hasn't quite noticed it yet, or has just opted to go for SL Reds or for agency, Toxic Maze. Just hopefully he goes for the Toxic Maze. He doesn't go for the Toxic Maze he's been doing in his 120 runs, because recently he switched over to the Toxic Maze BLJ. And that would be a no-no.
Pretty bad.
That would be actually hilarious if Cheese lost this race because he did HMC BLJ. Does miss that triple jump, the breezeless triple jump wall kick.
Oh,
no.
And then this is the breeze strat right after. Trying to do it a little bit too optimally. And then, of course, the Chucky grab isn't even trying to get released by the Chucky there, since about most of the Chucky's range there would have actually put him over the void. Smart thinking to just hope that the throw actually got him somewhat productive.
And Cheese with some aggressive nodding. Following the first rule with improv, which is go with the throw, yes end. And saying yes, yes, yes to that chuck, yeah. Gonna benefit him in the long run.
So Cheese only 1 star or so ahead right now. Star counts are tied, but he is going to be collecting a star pretty soon now. Wall kick, ledge grab. Very, very good. Now, speaking of alternate strats, there are like, I think 4 or 5 ways to get that waterfall star. It's kind of weird. You can do like the wall kick ledge grab like Cheese did. You can do a side flip or front flip dive right to the star. You can do a triple jump dive right to the star. You can even go up onto the stone bridge above it. And oh boy, Taba with the rage pausing. Might not quite realize just how close he is. Precious time just wasted. But he is picking up some steam. Nice finish to that red maze, at least.
Yeah, nice clean finish. Trying to think where... Oh, right, the equalizer. So Tabas lost most of the time in this race. Both of these players, I believe, are on 48 pace. Tabas lost most of his time in Whomp's Fortress, and Cheese, of course, had that cheeky little death in Lava Land and dies again.
Another one. Oh, wow.
And I think Tabas is going to take the lead, especially considering that Cheese has another star that he needs to get. And is going to lose a hefty amount of time not having done the Manta Ray. At least some number of seconds. because Manta Ray Star is certainly. Oh man, that's a scary blast.
Yeah, that was dangerously close to getting bopped into oblivion.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think Tabas might be even here.
Yeah, if you haven't grinded that star recently, it can sneak up on you sometimes. You have to put a lot of time in to make sure you have the stick movement consistent. Cheese with some really, really optimal movements to start up his reds. And,
oh my god! Tabas! That is... Tabas getting gridlocked, honestly. Yeah, that's... I guess that's one of the disadvantages of... playing out these races a little earlier in the day. Sometimes you can hit that rush hour. You've got those people trying to get home. It is Friday, lazy Friday, around 3 o'clock. People getting out of work, trying to get home a little early, and you just get caught between like an innocent fly guy and a Goomba, or a monkey, I guess, just trying to get home from work. Everyone's same as you, and just hits that traffic, you know.
Yep. Now Taba's gonna be moving on in for his own blast. And it's good, first try, not having any of the issues Cheese did, and with that, their star counts are virtually tied in the castle at the same time. This is a pretty considerable number of deaths for Cheese now. I think it might even be more than 4, given that their life count is so dissimilar.
Wait, did Cheese die again after blasting?
Yeah, he hit the edge of the mushroom at the very beginning of Reds.
Wow. I thought we were talking about when you were exclaiming. I thought it was like over the fact that Tabas was getting like super delayed, because I was looking at the left side and Tabas was just getting like a long delay between those two enemies, and I didn't even see that Cheese was dying.
Yeah, no, oh boy, Taba very nearly getting the start there. You could see his frustration.
Oh my gosh. I think both of these players are getting quite frustrated.
Thanks so much, 964, for the subscription for 3 months. Really appreciate it, man. Enjoy those emotes. Can we see some GSA fire in the chat? Love those clocks.
Yeah, Zine, fresh off a win actually yesterday in the D2.
And so we've got Taba moving on into the start here. A lot of discontent with how exactly those ground pounds went. Perfectly understandable. It can be really hard to actually time them. I have hit the box with the blind pound once, and it was when I was using like a really like I didn't get the setup I wanted, so I was like doing a really hacked together like just in the moment setup, and it just happened to work, and I was like, okay. That seems to happen a lot to me in this game. Like when I do the setup properly, I never get the expected result. And just like Taba here, trying for in the deep freeze, the frustration very evident on his face.
Yeah, for sure.
And she's not going for SL Reds either. Toxic Maze, if he either doesn't realize that the star is missing or he's going for Toxic Maze.
Yeah, Chad actually asking how Cheese is still ahead, and quite frankly, I don't think he's ahead. He is gonna have to go for that Toxic Maze star, and that's gonna lose him a hefty bit of time.
Now, thank you so much, BDF100, for gifting 5 subs to the community. Shoutouts to all the new subs who are flashing up on screen. BDF the legend.
Indeed. Drop a couple dabs on my behalf. Welcome to the Speedrun crew. Thank you, BDF.
Enjoy all those swag emotes. We pretty much have an emote for all of the major games that we have in leagues. Got some beautiful Mario emotes, some Celeste emotes now. Of course, that beautiful GSA sync. All just waiting at your fingertips.
So she's nailing the triple box jump, picking up the swimming with the monster, or swimming beast in the cavern. I always forget the name of that star. I think that Cheese has noticed his star count. He did give a little bit of a look as he was headed down into the basement, and he was like, wait, why is this my 52nd star? But we're about to see, honestly, I think that he is going for Christmas Miracle first.
Yeah, I forget whether he does the left or right side amazing emergency exit, but if he does left side, then if he gets up on that platform for triple box jump again, that will be Toxic Maze. Taba having some serious issues with triple box jump, breaks the box, has to go for emergency exit as backup.
Okay, are you ready for the absolute god theory? You know what doesn't have a BLJ in it and is completely legal in 70 star and can be done in Tippy? I'm gonna let chat. I'm gonna let chat guess. I'm gonna let chat guess.
No.
Chat.
Don't even go there. Don't encourage
Say it
that.
for me.
No.
I think he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
No.
He's gonna do it.
Stop. You get this man out of the booth. We no.
Stand by for technical difficulties. Simply will be joining Electric here in the booth.
That's intermission music. Yeah,
And
so here's Toxic Maze.
Cheese is boring. Quite frankly, I am going to be unsubbing. I do have that subscription. I'm going to be contacting Twitch and having it canceled because he refuses to go. Apparently, just does not want to do carpetless in RTA. Though we all know he can do it. He's perfectly capable. He is holding out on us. So I will be emailing
When will this meme die? It'll never die. I know.
But hey, one can always keep on hoping.
You know, one can dream. It just you look at the layout of the stage, and you really just have to wonder where on earth a possible RTA setup could be found. It's too barren. I feel like, but who knows? We might see it one day, but it just.
Who needs a better setup? Just play better for it.
Yeah, just do the stick perfectly for it.
Just play perfectly, honestly. It's what Shia does.
Anyway, we can now see she's just with a very, very slight lead at the moment, only hanging on by seconds after having to pick up Toxic Maze.
Someone asking if the match is pre-recorded. Let me just quickly double check. Carpetless, forehead. Yes, no, it is pre-recorded. It is in fact these players did race live earlier today. Just wanted to double check.
So now we've got them both moving on for Lakitu bounce. Taba with the slightly older setup. Okay, and with the grab, Taba is in the lead. Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
That grab is pretty tricky. You have to mash B pretty fast.
Oh, but Cheese takes the lead back with the wall kicks.
Yep, not getting a ledge grab there. It really is neck and neck at this point.
Just unbelievable. We are actually like in a dead heat. Dead absolute lock.
This is going to be really interesting to see. Got both going for the left side tricky triangles movement. So you said earlier the game was side-ish, but this movement is faster than going on the right side of that platform. So, I mean, I guess it kind of evens out.
Yeah, game seems to be a little bit centrist. Though, you know, I guess it's just not trying to take sides generally, or maybe it's just trying to appear balanced by giving them tricky triangles.
Taba with the unfortunate death right at the start of the stage.
The thing to remember though is that Rainbow Ride deaths are about the least consequential that deaths get in this game. You lose maybe 15-20 seconds. That it's similar to like dying at the very start of a Bowser level. It's not that huge a deal. So Tavis is not down and out. He's very much still in this race. Especially because generally mistakes in TTC lose more time than deaths in RR apparently.
Yep.
Commentator choosing harder ways to say words.
Especially if you end up having death on like a time stop star in TTC, it can cost a lot of time if you don't have any time moving backups and you have to wait for the clock hand to move again. Jeez, attempt. Okay, that was very strange. I guess it just he tried ground pounding way too early. To be honest, I can't even quite explain what happened to him there, but was able to recover before long jumping into the abyss. An interesting camera angle from Taba. Can't say I've seen very many people take the Mario cam there, but I can see its advantages. As now Cheese starts with the big Kahuna star, TTC 100, already showing a little bit of weakness. Oh
my
boy.
goodness.
Here we go. Now, Taba has actually been the one to time and figured out early Toad is faster than late Toad should you get the castle movement to TTC properly.
She's getting a lot of safety coins here. Not happy with the way that the star is starting out, but fortunately, a little bit of a reset on the middle part. As long as he makes his triple jump wall kick, he's going to be home free for the middle section of TTC 100 overall. And it looks like he is going to be coasting at least for the next 10 or so seconds. Oh, that was
there.
Yeah.
And he's up on the platform. Very, very optimal wall kicks. And then the potential major bonk, but not actually getting in his way, fortunately.
He gives a little side eye to the camera. And oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
Very clean ending.
She's got an advanced copy of the script, knew he was going to be missing those 2 coins, and that's why he got the backup red. Very, very brave, or rather very smart by Cheese. But clean ending here.
Taba cleaning up some of the more quick stars in this stage. Going ahead with time moving first. Not quite liking his movement there for the right side. Taba having to back up with this wall kick movement here. Honestly, I feel like the strat that Taba just had to do as a backup is actually harder than going with the triple jump wall kick on the right side. It's just you only have one opportunity at the ladder, and so I feel like that's the whole reason it's kind of recommended as more so of an advanced strat. But there's a lot less that can go wrong ultimately. If you mess up on this long jump wall kick, like you're just toast. There's nothing you can really do about it. Cheese, that beautiful right side movement to get a hand.
Yeah, indeed. A little bit of a nitpick here. Oh, Taba missing the coin. Gonna have to get this extra red coin like his opponent did. And a little bit of a nitpick actually. When Taba backed up that triple jump wall kick for moving TTC, he went for the get a hand star. Oh no, he's gonna fall!
Okay, man, just to save himself. The worst way to fall, ultimately.
Yeah, but yeah, gonna lose a hefty bit of time. Both of these players dropping a lot of spaghetti, honestly.
That's honestly like the point that Taba just failed on is a very underrated part of the star. Getting that side flip wall kick to land you in a perfect position to get a double jump to ground pound on that blue switch is very underrated. Because you're effectively moving perpendicular to the platform that blue switch platform is on, so you have a very narrow range to actually ground pound. And then the invisible comes out to play. Oh boy. Taba just shooting for it, barely moving himself over. I honestly thought he was going to get the wall again, but
and falls off.
Fails to jump there. What?
Oh my gosh, okay. Barely. What is he doing?
He's trying to side flip, I think, but it just is not happening.
Yeah, that was. Oh gosh, this is rough. At least it's still alive and manages to avoid taking fall damage.
Okay, very, very nice backing up here. But I mean, yeah, this is the type of stuff you just do not want to see in TTC. Just massive time loss.
Yeah, this is real rough. Cheese finishing up here in TTC, going to be going into that little corner to pick up the Todd Star. And going to be heading into Bowser in the Sky. Taba only about a minute and a half behind, I would say. So, you know, certainly Cheese has a close, intimate relationship with Bowser throws that could very possibly pull Taba back in this game. But it certainly is a decisive lead at this current moment.
Yeah, I mean, even the movement in Sky is to be underrated. Like, he could very easily fail left or right side should he, for some reason, decide to go for it. Even this dive right here could go badly. Nope. Still managing to pull some very, very clean movements so far. Taba now at 69 stars, just has one more left in TTC.
Chad actually asking how Cheese is streaming 2 games at once, is participating in this race whilst actually streaming ROM hacks on his own personal stream. And for anyone in the chat who hasn't read the 3rd Harry Potter book, there is in fact certain forms of technology that do make it possible. A little bit complicated, a little sciencey, but we won't get too far into that, but just trust.
I mean, you thought one person with only one person's worth of time in a day could get a 138. I mean, Cheese goes through 4 days in the time that we go through one. It's the time cube, people.
Indeed. I don't know if you've seen, I don't know if chat has seen Interstellar, chat here being a monolithic entity. And Cheese with clean throws, and going to be finishing up here with a mid-50.
Very, very respectable time, especially given those earlier circumstances with those deaths in LOL, for instance. Taba is not too far behind, can still finish with a pretty decent 51, I believe. Might be looking at 52 territory, but it'd be a very low 52 if it were.
Yeah, either way, Taba getting a hefty few points here. Has a whole 5 minutes to play with, but is going to be finishing, looks like, going to be finishing a lot sooner than that.
Oh, Taba going for right side, having to go ahead and do a quick backup, and then just falling right off the edge of the stage.
I really hope Taba... Oh, just come on, please. Okay, good. And I'm going to be recovering real well here.
Very, very nice backup movement from Taba. He's certainly shown himself to be very adept at backups.
Very adept at backups. And Taba has a lot of time in order to secure himself some commiseration points. And we're here at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the division. Every single point that you can get yourself is going to matter in the long run. So certainly do want to see him nail these throws.
All right, so now Taba moving into throws. 52 is on the table very, very handily.
Oh, thought he had the glitchy tail grab, but not quite. Managing to pick up the first throw. He's very slow. But the little quirks of how fast your throws are don't matter so much here. It looks like he is going to be ending under 2 minutes of the margin. And so that's going to be making the difference. So just strictly speaking, his bits didn't change much in the way of how many points he gets.
Yep, 52:30, not a bad time at all. Looks to be at least a little dissatisfied, which I can totally understand, especially with some of the things that happened in Tippy, given how close the race was. But overall, a very, very solid performance nonetheless. And like you said, going to net him a decent number of points. He's only going to be missing out on like 12 of those 38 points or so. So he's going to be walking home with about 18 points from this race.
For sure. So mad props to Taba for finishing the run.
And GG's to both of these guys. Don't go anywhere. We've got Blue Esports Rock Chalk versus the young phenom Benji64 in just a little while for y'all, and that'll be calmed by Rock Onks and Shantastic, who accompany me in the booth right now. Thanks so much for the comms, man. It's been a pleasure as always. And
yeah,
thanks so much.
Same here. Pleasure's all mine. And yeah, I'll see you later. And chat, I will see you guys in 2 minutes.
Yep. Peace out.